Hey guys, thanks for joining this tutorial today. We're going to be drawing a realistic iced coffee in Procreate. So just starting off on our first layer, we just want to take a fine tipped pen just to create the outline of our cup. So you can access my brush blending set in the description below. And so we're just going to go ahead and define where the top and the bottom of our cup is. Next, on a new layer, we're going to go ahead and start creating out the rest of the cup. So I like just to create two very straight lines meeting the bottom part of the cup. Make sure the bottom part's a little bit smaller than the top line. And from there, you can start creating a bit more shape to the cup. But we're going to start with just rounding out the bottom, just because no cup would look completely flat like that from the angle we're drawing it from. So now we're just going to create a few or a couple divots just at the top, just to indicate a bit more shape to the cup rather than it just being flat. So now we just want to take away those previous layers that we had. So you can either delete them or just leave them unchecked. Sometimes I like just starting with a new slate. It's easier to see on the eyes and choosing between layers. So you just want to take a soft brush now, make a new layer, put it underneath your outline layer, and just choose a dark brown. You can have a bit of a reddy tone to it just because I feel like iced coffee kind of has that. It's a little bit more rich in color. So feel free to choose a brown color that looks similar to this and just start filling in the inside of the cup. On the same layer, we're going to be taking just a lighter brown color, so kind of almost a little bit more orangey slightly, so it's a light brown red kind of color. Again, just only colors that we find really in coffee. I'm also going to show or display the color palette that I used in the description as well, so you can also access that if you already have my brush pack, or if you want both. You can access both this color palette to create this drawing, and then also you can also access the brushes I use too. So I'm just placing different colors of brown and orange, and really just the colors that you'd find in coffee in different areas, very randomized. I would say that the top part of the coffee though is where you're going to want to have more of those lighter colors, and then we're going to have pockets of cream and just the reflection of light essentially through the coffee in different parts of the cup. But just starting off with our base, so this can be all done on the same layer, and then we're just going to blend it out. Great, so going back to that outline layer, we just want to add in or draw where ice is gonna be. So we can have it peeking out of the glass quite a bit there. And then we're also going to be drawing out a straw as well. So this doesn't have to look perfect. It can just look something similar to this. Just make sure that your straw looks straight. Okay, so on a new layer, we're actually going to take a lighter color, and we're going to use in the element section, you should have this in your Procreate account, the smoke brush. I find that this looks like what looks like in coffee. Like, we're going to be going in and editing this quite a bit, but I love how this effect actually looks like cream is in the coffee. So taking the smoke brush and just making different patterns with that, and it can be completely random. It does not have to look like mine, but just try playing around with the pressure too, because the more that you press into the smoke brush, it will make it stronger or give it a bit more of a less translucent effect. It will be much more full. So go in with a lighter color. It doesn't have to be white. I would recommend it actually not being white if you want it to be a bit more realistic. And then you can go in with some different colors of brown and different colors of orange if you want as well. So now that I've added in some like clumps of just color, and then also with the smoke brush, I'm going to want to go back to my other base layer where those browns are sitting, just because I wanted to add in some darker areas to it before we start blending out and moving around our smoke layer, essentially. So I wanted to darken some areas just to give it more of a realistic effect, because it wouldn't all really be one consistent color. Great, and now that we want to go back to this layer here. So we're on the top layer, which is our smoke layer, and we're gonna go into the liquefy mode, and we're gonna do push. You can play around with this, but I'd recommend doing push around this size, and then you can just push and like twirl and twist the different smoke layers in there, which I felt looked just like how iced coffee would look when you pour cream into it. So we are going to go back in and blend some of these areas out so it doesn't look as harsh, and like not all the lines are going to be this hard as they wouldn't be in real iced coffee, but just to try to get some cool patterns going first. just have fun with it and like push around the different colors and have them blend a little bit into each other. Don't overdo it though. I did just take a step back there because I felt like it was just a little bit too much. So now we're going to take our blending brush and just smudge out some areas. Feel free to be a bit generous with this. Go in and like smudge quite a few different edges. Obviously, don't get rid of all of the fun lines you see, but if you go into like a certain section of one of the brush strokes of a piece of smoke or what have you, or a piece of cream in this sense, if you can even call it a piece, but essentially in one of the ribbons of smoke, you can go in on like one side, for example, or only a portion of it you can blend out just to make it look more realistic. Next, we want to create another layer and bring it, actually, in a moment I bring it down behind the entire drawing, but we're going to draw out a background and we're going to add, so there are layer 4s at the bottom. So we're going to actually just take a lighter blue color and start drawing out our background. Okay, now we're going to be drawing out our ice. So create another layer, make sure it's in front of the background layer, but behind the rest of the layers that we have in terms of our outline and also our iced coffee and smoke layer essentially. So I'm starting out with adding in where some of the shadow or like light reflection would be from the coffee in the ice. So feel free to follow along. I'm just going to be adding in some dark brown to specific areas of the ice just to carve out where the reflections are going to be essentially. Alrighty, this is coming together nicely. So now we're just going to be adding in colors for the straw. So I'm going to be doing a blue and white striped straw. So I'm just adding in a few different colors here to the glass just to show some reflection. And I'm also now picking like almost something I would actually use for skin to try to replicate some like water droplets or a bit more texture to the cup to make it look like there's some condensation on it. I ended up not choosing my blending brush pack textured brush just because it looked a little bit strange. So I think I actually went to check out a few that Procreate might offer, but I didn't find anyone that I liked. So I ended up just choosing this one freckled brush that I use and made it a bit smaller and added that one instead, just lowered the opacity. You can use any textured brush though, I want to mention. I was just being a bit picky, so go ahead and you can even technically, if you wanted to, you could also just draw them out yourself and do some dot work on it. But just pick any textured brush and put on a low opacity with a light color. And now I'm just merging the layers together because sometimes it just makes it a bit easier to do so when I need to erase around just to clean up the edges here, and that's all I'm really doing at the end. Well, thank you guys so much for watching today. That is pretty much our tutorial. We're just cleaning up our edges here before we're finished, but I just wanted to, again, yes, say thanks to everybody who watched the tutorial today. If you guys enjoyed this tutorial, please feel free to hit the like and subscribe button to my channel to get more tutorials like this. Please feel free to leave a comment as well, but I will see you guys here next week. Thank you so much. Bye.